Shalom. This is Mary Omni from the World Government House of King David, Holy Covenant Constitutional Enforcer. I'm the woman of Galatians 4:4 and the woman of Revelations 12. Please refer to your Bible. And all I ask you to do is to consider that I am who I say I am. I'm the mother of the New Jerusalem, and I'm the mother that gave birth to newborn King Emmanuel, February the 15th, 2011. This is a Republic Notice. The title of this Republic Notice is Mixed Women. How much do you think black women really owe you? Mixed women, how much do you think black women really owe you? Let me say it one more time. Mixed women, how much do you think black women really owe you? Now, there's two kinds of mixed women I'm talking about. There's the mixed woman born from the black woman. Okay, she's a constitutional heir. Okay, she's a constitutional heir. The mixed woman born from the constitutional black woman is a constitutional heir. Okay, let's put that aside for a minute. Okay, the other mixed woman, she's fathered by a constitutional black man. Now let's talk about the difference. This mixed woman fathered by the constitutional black man is fathered by women, fathered with women outside of the Constitution. In other words, in corporate doctrine women. They could be white, they could be Hispanic, they can be Asian, they can be mixed, they can be Middle Eastern, they can be Mexican, they can even be from Africa. They can even be from Brazil. Wherever you want your exotic woman, wherever this black man wants his exotic woman from, she's outside of the Constitution. Therefore, she's a bond woman, because anything outside the Constitution of the 1 through 15th, the 1 through 27th, 1 through 15th amendments is bond woman. Okay, they think they got to 16 to 27, but they have nothing to do with that either. They contract with the U.S. corporate mule for their fake Americanism, and the U.S. corporate mule is what they call a government, and it doesn't have one amendment. This is the bond woman. All their contracts is tied up in the U.S. corporate mule. All their so-called Americanism is tied up in a U.S. corporate, U.S. corporation, which is the mule. And it doesn't have one amendment. The constitutional woman owns the mule. She also is the supreme contract in the Constitution. Therefore, when she births daughters, her daughters are heirs. Okay? Just like Diana Ross and the supreme womb. Diana Ross mixed children are heirs. Now, constitutional heirs. Therefore, the women who are constitutional heirs from black women are different from those like Alicia Keys and Halle Berry, who was born from Caucasian women who are not constitutional citizens. The 14th been non-consented since 1868. Screw what you heard, and they call themselves citizens, but they're not citizens. They are called that. You can call something, just like you call Xerox, just like you call all copying machines Xerox. Just because they're a copying machine and Xerox was the first machine, you say, I'm going to Xerox this. It doesn't make it a Xerox machine. It's just a copying machine. So they call themselves, we got 200 or more million people here calling themselves U.S. citizens. That's kind of like a copying machine calling itself a Xerox when it's not a Xerox. It assumes the facsimile of or the same type, but it's not. A Xerox is a Xerox, and other copying machines is a copy machine. A constitutional citizen is a constitutional citizen, and squatters are squatters. Just because they on the soil don't mean they constitutional. Remember, it's all kinds of animals on the soil. So, the question is, and the question was, mixed women, how much exactly do you think black women owe you? And this is because the mixed women born from Caucasian women, Hispanic women, or whatever they want, mainly Caucasian women, like, Asian or whatever, but mainly Caucasian women, because it seemed like a lot of these men, when they started mixing in the late 60s, they ran to a lot of Caucasian women, and they produced children like Halle Berry, Alicia Keys, and, a great number of them, a great number of these, mixed females born from white women. Even though they're not the only mixed one. I'm talking to all mixed one, but a lot of them are born from white women, and these are the ones that are publicly known, so that's why I'm using their name. The point is, how much do we owe you, Alicia Keys? I mean, behind the fact that a black man who was married by constitutionality to the black woman since 1868 committed adultery with your mother, the adulteress, and had you, Miss Keys, why do you think then that some black woman like Mashonda owes you some more? Huh? Why do you think she owes you her children's father and husband? Because your father was an adulteress and your mother was an adulteress. It's because that adultery and that grabbing can't escape from your blood? I mean, it wasn't enough that a black child or heir couldn't be born because you was born? How about that, Kamora Lee? A black child couldn't be born because you was born, Kamora Lee, but yet you want to soak the baby fat? How many infants do you have to soak? How much of black vampirism, how much vampirism, blood sucking have to take place? I mean, yeah, your father, you described your father as kind of whorish. And if your father was whorish, what was your mother? I mean, she was there with him. Okay. Now, what makes you think you're entitled to a constitutional citizen husband because your father was running around, or your mother, like the black men who run around? Don't blame me. Don't blame me, because your mother's had you, and your mother committed adultery. And because your mother committed adultery, and she's an adulteress, and your father committed adultery in jumping out of his own covenant and constitutionality and ignoring his biblical woman, his spirit woman, his holy woman, the woman who carried her in his womb for 500 years and preserved his life in America, because he is such an ingrate, and he ran and looked for someone who would let his ingrate ass run up into him. That don't mean the black woman owes you any more black men. That don't mean you have the right to interfere with black women and their men, or interfere with the holy covenant, or interfere with the rights of the black child to be born. But you think you have that right because you're like I said before, once that black woman seed is not there, then it's a draconic seed mixed in. Now, don't blame me, because to me, Kamora Lee showed that she had a draconic seed in her, thinking that Russell Simmons was her man and telling black women that they think Russell Simmons should have married them. He is married to them by constitutional supreme contract. All you was his Babylon adulterous whore, and your children, you made your children bastards by opening your legs to a black man that don't belong to you by supreme contract. Okay? And your baby fat is the proof that you want to suck the baby fat of black infants for you and your mother adulterous behaviors. Okay? How many black infants do you think lives owe you, Miss Lee? How many heirs, Alicia Keys, is owed to you for you to create another bond child? You and Kamora Lee bond children. You and Kamora Lee bond children. Okay? See, you're bond child. Then you want another black man to create another bond child. And this goes the same for T.I. wife. This goes the same for Mariah Carey. Bond women feel as though they got a right to a second helping, a third helping, because your mother is your kind and they're adulterous. And see, the proof of it is you're merciless towards black women. Even though you know she's been trampled, you're merciless. You're merciless as mixed women of bondage. You're merciless. You're merciless knowing that the black woman is trampled and alone because it's made clear in America. And yet you grab. So you are the abuser. You are the bullies, just like your mother. You join 100 and 200 million in trampling the Holy Covenant and the Holy Spirit because you think you have a right because your mother opened her legs to some man ingrate who didn't give a damn about you or your mother because most of them left. So if he didn't give a damn about you and your mother, why you think you are so old from the black woman? Who gives you the right to trample her further? Why don't you find a mixed man? A mixed man born from a bond woman like you are. That's your man. A mixed man born from a bond woman is your man. A constitutional man, not yours. A mixed man born from a bond woman is your man. Go find a mixed man born from a white woman like your mother. Find a mixed man born from an Asian woman like your mother. Because when it comes down to our mixed daughters, we going to tell them the same thing. Because see, we got mixed males in the Constitution born from a black woman. And that's their true mate. Judah man is a Judah man. Malachi 2:11 tells you God made the Judah woman his wife. Okay? They are the same spirit. The 15th Amendment, Jerusalem wall, is the black man. The 14th is the black woman. They are the sovereignty of America by supreme contract. They were married in 1868 by supreme contract to produce all persons born. Heirs. Heirs is born from the black woman. Those like Kamora Lee, Alicia Keys and their mother, and T.I. wife, and Mariah Carey and her mother, all they produce is bond children. And each time they produce a bond children, that means an heir is not produced. So how many heir children you think have to die? You think have to die because your mother and father was whores. Because your mother and father didn't care about nobody else but their own selfish lusts and desires. And then you must got a demon seed in you because you're just like them by your own proof. You're callous and indifferent to the black woman with all your black vaginal envy just like your mother. Now our daughters that are born from mixed black women, there are daughters that are born from black women that are mixed. They don't seem to have that same demonology. Although they go towards black men, at least they heirs. And we can correct them. And at least if they have a baby, their baby will still be heirs, but they will be in a technical constitutional breach. Because the black man is already married to the black Judah woman for the sovereignty of the Constitution, the Holy Covenant, and the sovereignty of whole America. So going with them with your bond asses is creating a form of treason. Okay? And see, they're ingrates and they're too stupid to know because they low frequency freaks. And so was your mother low frequency freaks. Because they didn't have compassion as a human being for another woman. Can you really call them a woman? Being that indifferent to a suffering woman who they know have suffered the tragedy of her womb in this country and having to breed children with slavery descendancy and oppression. The callousness of you women is far from a human being. It's draconic. And I'm talking about the mixed one from bond woman and your bond woman mothers. We don't owe you nothing. As a matter of fact, you owe us everything. We own everything you got.
It all belongs to me. It all belongs to me.
This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.